obviously, I assume you can't obviously give figures away, but like, what's the rough estimated cost of this, of the full project?
Oh,
No pressure on the spot, but
you always love putting me on the spot. So
have a little think if you want.
Scale ranges sort of in mid-40s for back to brick works, full kitchen, bathroom, rewire, roofing works on it. So you're talking mid to middle 40s on something of this extent.
So this is a project that Zac's doing for one of his clients. This gives you a full breakdown of the numbers, figures, and every little detail of a project, full back to brick work, as you can tell. Watch the full video, lots of interesting stuff at the end, and a number breakdown. You ready?
Yes, go.
Rock and roll.
You'll have to make the music.
Never. So we're at the project now. Let's go inside, see what's going on. So Zac, how was this when you first arrived here? How was things looking?
So this one's been an interesting one. So the client on this reached out to us in November time and mentioned that the builders on it had been on it for nearly a year. Not making progress, as you can see. Still owed quite a bit of money on the job, so they contacted us just for our advice. We priced up the works that were needed back in October, November time. They've reached back out to us in March to actually come in. They said wanted to run through everything, take our approach on it, and then said, yeah, we want you to take over the job because it's not progressing. Fortunately, the client for this bought this cash, so no bridge on it, which is a small saving grace, but at the same time, a year's worth of rent pretty much lost on it. No progress being made. But yeah, you can see this is pretty much the state that we started in. We've done a bit of extra boarding, got materials and that on site ready to get started. The original electrician, fortunately, is kept in contact with the owner, so he's done his first fix electrics on it. You can see he's done a very nice job of that, all nicely trumped in and everything, all chased in where it's needed.
Nice.
Neatly labelled, all the wires and everything, so he's done a good job of that.
Nice.
So yeah, bit of a design and reconfiguration change. So that's obviously going to be the living room. In here then, this will be the new kitchen. So we've had the kitchen plan done. That's going to be running along this wall and along there. So this is going to be the main kitchen. Utility area is going to be moved into here. So originally that was the kitchen. We've already had a new roof on to make sure everything's all watertight. So that's had a new rubber roof fitted just to make sure that all the main bits and bobs were done prior to us making the main start of it, plastering of things. So we had some plaster delivered this week. Well, sorry, this week, end of last week, sorry, it's Monday today. So this is going to be changed into the new bathroom. So the original bathroom was above. That's going to be converted into another room. So yeah, this one's going to be changed into the bathroom. This getting blocked up. Utility room going back in there. And yeah, bit of a reconfiguration changing that down here. You can see back the brick in majority of the areas.
Yeah.
Plumbers due to come in because again, they started a bit of work, so we've got to chase everything and find out where it all is and make sure the pipe and everything's correct. Garden, you can see there's quite a bit of work to be done on here. So,
got a monster shed.
Yeah, there's a bit of a beefy one there. And obviously we're going to have to be putting guarding along here as any areas requiring that for rental spec as well.
Makes
sense.
sense.
So that's all compliant.
Yeah, good shout, good shout. So yeah, mostly back to brick by the looks of it. Got new electrics, mostly central heating. To be
Yeah, pretty much
well.
everything needed on this one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a beauty, isn't it?
And then upstairs again, bit of a... So you see, back to brick, mostly on a stable wall. A lot of stud work to get back up and make sure the rooms are actually back as bedrooms. This one, as I said, downstairs was originally the bathroom. Looking at it, I'm not sure what the client's plans are, whether or not he's going to see if it is going to be up to spec to be a bedroom, but looking at it, I think it's more of an office than an actual livable space. I can't see the best way you'd be getting a bed in here, to be fair.
Yeah, because obviously with every room you've got to make sure it meets the size requirements.
Yeah, its head height isn't, it's not too bad to be fair in places, but yeah, new windows and that to go in where they're needed.
No stepping on the floor.
So the client, when we price the job, wanted to reuse the boiler. That's a very common thing is trying to save money where, well, at the end of the day, you need to make money.
Spot on.
But if I was a betting man, I'd bet that isn't going to fire back up. Boilers don't like being left off. Any plumber will tell you that. They need to have water and that flowing through them, make sure everything's all sort of lubed up, so to say. Yeah. But make sure that it's constantly flowing and that, because the bushes, not the bushes, I can't think what they're bloody called.
All the inside stuff.
Yeah, mine's got like pretty much all the seals and stuff. They will sort of like perish and corrode and that. Gotcha. So it'll just end up leaking, and you'll spend so much money just chasing faults, repairing and fixing bits and bobs. You're not far in before changing the whole boiler, and then you've got a brand new boiler with a warranty and everything on it then as well. So we'll see if that fires back up. It's been moved downstairs, but again, it's one of those things you do not know until you test it. Yeah. That's the only way of knowing.
That's cool.
So all these boards have to be correctly redone. As you can see, it's all taken back to brick.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the original builder's plans were, because this section is blown in places, as you can hear. So yeah, this is all going to have to be redone correctly.
Yeah, it's a proper project, isn't it?
This is common, what you can see with the construction of properties in South Wales, sort of the valleys. If you look at these walls, this is the sort of stuff you're dealing with, and that's going to have to be reinforced, because you can see that's got a bit of a wiggle to it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. See, these little bits and bobs, that's just how they were constructed. So yeah, it's probably a reason why some of them have been taken down. I need to make sure that these are all reinforced and not causing any damages or anything.
Yeah, because I guess when you're renovating it to this scale, you want to make sure the longevity's there, don't you? So,
yes, 100%.
Yeah, make sure it's structurally sound.
Make sure it's all done correctly as well, no cutting corners.
Spot on.
Yeah, you see the previous builders have made a start in here, so just back and boarded walls rather than stripping all the wallpaper off. They've decided to just back and board it. So we've spoken to the client to make sure that they're happy with us following suit of what they're doing. All the walls which haven't been, we'll be taking them back, making sure it's all off, because what you don't want to do is, now that I've said it, I want to speak to the client and just confirm. So if you're leaving stuff like this on it, there is a possibility that over time these will draw mould, damp, that sort of stuff. Maybe not on an internal wall, more so on the external sides. Yeah. But again, you're leaving very old wallpaper, that's probably going to get mouldy and that behind this, which over time could cause health issues, which is one thing that sometimes doesn't really get picked up on or mentioned. True. So stuff like that, which cutting corners, you don't want to do, because yeah, it doesn't take long to get it off, and it's just better quality, better finish, and done correctly.
Yeah, yeah. Cool fireplace.
Another thing with fireplace, so a lot of people will just board them up. You want to make sure that they've got ventilation, so put a little vent or something on it, because otherwise you block it up, no airflow behind it, can cause damp condensation issues. Okay.
And then the windows staying?
Yes, I believe he's budgeted all existing double glazing windows to stay. Any timber frame ones and the ones that need updating are obviously going to be changed then. I'll have to check, just rejog my memory on the scope of works, what's being changed. But I know all the timber windows, so you've got the back bedroom and the downstairs sort of bathroom / utility areas being changed.
Yeah. Now, obviously, yeah. I assume you can't obviously give figures away, but like, what's the rough estimated cost of this, of the full project?
Oh,
no pressure on the spot, but
you always love putting me on the spot. So
have a little think if you want.
Scale ranges sort of in mid-40s for back to brick works, full kitchen, bathroom, rewire, roofing works on it. So you're talking mid to middle of 40s on something of this extent, with the amount of work on it, garden, making it nice, clean and presentable. Yeah. Garden work, all the carpentry, making sure that everything back to brick is done correctly.
And the little roof as well.
Yeah.
Little mini roof.
So there's been quite a bit of work involved in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will be moving forward, so it'd be nice to see the the before and afters of it as well.
Definitely. And obviously we just had a conversation then, didn't we, where like the pricing of South Wales compared to city centres is going to be a bit different.
So, yeah, we priced a job in Swansea for a friend of mine, and the landlord wanted 5 quotes on it, which fair enough. Usually you've got about 3, maybe 4 at a push. Wanted to get 5 on it to compare. We were the cheapest quote out of 5, and the price range differed about 20 to 30%. So that's, you can see the difference in pricing between cities and sort of in the valleys.
So we're Zac's project in Ferndale, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, literally just, it's a full back to brick. Obviously we just did a bit of video walkthrough, but this is mainly for also yourself. So what's kind of tell us about your kind of rough story and how you kind of got into all this?
So I've got a few properties myself. That's really the way I got into it, sort of by accident really. I used to work in construction previously, left that, joined the military, and then wanted to get back into doing this sort of thing. So yeah, I did a renovation on a property in Swansea, converted that from a 2-bed bungalow to a 4-bed dorm bungalow, additional bathrooms, a lot of work, absolute full gut. Pretty much anything you can think of on a property that was required, was needed on that. Picked up a lot of sort of rejog my memory on sort of the way things process, project managing it all and everything. So from that, I had a few people reach out saying, "Oh, well done, like works really good." Did a few videos and stuff on YouTube as well, which sort of got that publicity and getting the name out there a bit, even though I wasn't trying to do that sort of thing. Sort of fell into doing project management there, people saying, "Oh, the work looks great, can you help assist on my property?" That developed into starting my personal business then. Did quite a few renovations project managing them, but as I've mentioned to you previously, when you're project managing a property, the trades that you get in, you're only as good as the trades. And I say 9 times out of 10, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. And you're limited on how much you can manage them because you're not their boss. You're there overseeing the jobs, make sure that everything's done. By the end of the day, if they turn around like, "Oh, I'm not there today," I can't just say, "Oh, well, you're my employee, get that." They're not. It's just sort of subcontracted. So Paul, my current business partner with CB Development, he was one of the contractors that was incredibly reliable. Communication, for me, communication is key. Like, if you can't communicate, just basic things like, "Oh, sorry mate, I'm not there today for X, Y, and Z, let me know," rather than turn up to the property it's empty. So communication is a big thing, and Paul pretty much ticked every single box. So I proposed to him about me wanting to get away from the project management side of things, just because I was just fed up with the not most reliable trades, and budgets dictate the sort of person you can get in to do the job. We had a lot of good properties, and then towards the end of where I was like, right, I want to step away from this and have my own teams, things started fizzling out, and that's the whole reason I set up this company, to have full control over absolutely everything. So I partnered up with my business partner, set this company up. We've been going just over 2 years now.
Nice.
And yeah, it's going great. We've got quite a few teams working directly for us. The only things that we subcontract out is electrics, gas, and roofing works when needed, because we don't do them 24/7. It's not really feasible, or the big reason for us to actually have those trades directly working for us. So we've got incredibly reliable gas engineers and electricians who pretty much are at my house this morning. It's a case of picking the phone up, they're like, "Yeah, so we'll be straight over there." So they don't work for us directly, but we've built that good relationship, that rapport together, that if we need them, they're there straight away. So yeah, that's the main thing about how we sort of started and got together, and the reasons why. So yeah.
Nice man, nice. I mean, I can speak from personal experience. I know I've heard so much good things about you before even meeting you, and afterwards kind of feeding into that. So it's definitely, I think reputation builds on it over time as well. And you can definitely see how word of mouth helps as well. And I see a trend now where everyone's kind of flooding into kind of, there's some names that stick out more than others with these, and you kind of really see the trend there. So that's a good sign. So obviously, what's the plan moving forward then? Obviously, currently you've got all this build up of teams you're working with, trusted builders, trusted people you work with, tradesmen, for example. What's the next 5 years? How's that look for you?
Put me right on the spot.
Do you even know? No pressure.
So to be perfectly honest, it's sort of, I'm not saying take it day by day, because there's so much that goes on, but
just wing it.
I would definitely not wing it. But sort of the way that we started, as I said, me and my business partner put together, we had 2 full teams, so carpenters, plasterers, labourers, and that sort of stuff to take on a few properties. Word of mouth starting to get out there. We've got our own business page, new website and all that designed, all marketing and everything, so we're starting to progress, take on bigger projects. As you see, this one's a nice example of full back to brick renovation, so some nice one to do. We've done a few large renovations, much higher scale, like hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of work on massive like farm conversions, that sort of stuff. So the level of work we do is quite high, but our bread and butter is the normal BRR flips and buy to lets. So most of the work you do is this level. Taking a completely rundown property and turn it into a home at the end of the day.
Nice, man. I mean, I gotta say, it builds a portfolio as well, doesn't it? You can see like what people are doing and that sort of thing. So
for the next 5 years, just keep progressing. We're making sure we're not gonna run before we can walk. So a lot of companies will be like, oh, we've got all this work coming in, this amazing, get loads of lads coming in, and like anything, it's up and down. This year we thought was going to be a little bit slower with the way the mortgage rates are and everything like that. So we're like, right, but it's the complete opposite. We're the busiest we've ever been. We take on roughly 4 to 5 projects a month. That's the sort of our goal with the teams that we have on. So we're always transparent with the amount of workflow that we have, how much we can take on, because it's great taking on all the work, but if you can't fulfill it, you get a bad reputation, a bad name, and you know yourself in this industry, and that passes around really quickly. So
very quickly.
So that's pretty much us at the moment. We're happy the way that we are. We're always progressing. We're making sure that we don't just fly in and just jump straight into like the massive amounts of work and just take too much on.
But I really like the fact that you guys are investing yourself. Like you've got your own projects, your own things going on. It's not just kind of like just build a builder. It's more just kind of like you got your own projects.
We always try and have input on jobs, and that's one thing that I love doing. So I'm not a builder. I'll make that very clear to everyone. I am not a builder. I project manage. I've got experience within doing this myself, and business experience then as well. So my main role within this company is sort of client relations, doing these sort of things together, going around jobs, checking quality control. And then my business partner, who's got the actual trade experience, he's builder by trade, plasterer, and as anything, you pick a lot of stuff up over time. So I've learned a hell of a lot from watching the lads on site. And I'm not the sort of person, just because I'm sort of the boss in charge, I won't go around to my lads saying, I need to do this, this and this. I'll take advice off them. I will take advice off anyone, because they're trained, they're qualified plasterers, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. I love getting involved and just seeing what's like the correct way of doing things. And
smart.
I'm not the sort of person who's got a chip on their shoulder, like, no, I know how to do it. I will always take advice. Doesn't matter who it's from, whether it's the most recent employee to most qualified employee. I'll take advice off anyone. I completely lost track of where I was going about that.
I mean, it was good. It's good. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not kind of sitting there thinking, you know, the big ego's there. You kind of, at the end of the day, it's almost like a puppet, kind of like you kind of like orchestrating the strings, pulling the strings a little bit, but then also getting the feedback of people, and then the
feedback
skills,
is key.
100%.
I will always say to any client, whether we get a job or not, or when we complete a job, I love to have feedback, whether it's good, bad. If someone tells me you are absolutely crap, because at the end of the day, everyone's got different expectations, and I would be a liar if I said that we were the best company in the world. Like, every single company has their good points, their bad points, but the main thing is how you deal with it, how you progress, and how you change things. Every single week you're learning something new. Like, no 2 houses are the same. And it's my main thing is, if we don't get a quote to say, well, what's the reasoning behind it? It's not for you, it is purely for us as a company to progress. See, right, are we too expensive in certain areas? Because our quotes are fully itemised. You can clearly see every single structure, what's broken down: carpentry, plastering, electrics, plumbing, tiling, flooring, everything. It's all itemised, so you know yourself for the projects we've got with you. So we're always transparent on that, and I like to get feedback from clients who sort of do these sort of renovations day in, day out, to see, right, are we more expensive in this area? Are we not expensive in this area?
That's a really good
Is your expectations different? So a lot of things, well, basic things get missed. So the spec on a job. I said one that we priced in Swansea, our quote was at least 20% less than the next quote, and all the other ones were substantially more than ours.
Says so much.
So, for example, on the most expensive quote, their budget was 30 grand plus that for a kitchen. I was like, right, okay, I've no idea what spec that you want. So
Yeah.
if you're putting 30 grand plus VAT in the kitchen, I'm expecting the
Diamonds.
absolute the best kitchen ever, quartz worktops or granite worktops, that sort of stuff. Like we priced in a normal renovation, so it's like if we don't have a scope of works, a lot of clients we do ask for just to base our quotes off, because sometimes, and that's again reverting back to why I asked for feedback, is our quote may be more expensive, but the quality and the products that we put in it may be the reason to it.
True.
So we won't go to, for example, just pop down to B&Q, get the cheapest toilet, cheapest bath fixtures and that. We always want to make sure that everything's going to last. The last thing you want is to be called back to a job because you've cheaped out 20 quid on a tap, for example, and something's failed on it. So that's with our quotes, I always make sure that the client knows what the spec is, what their expectations are, and then I'll allow them sort of free rein on sort of colour choices, carpets, tiles, that sort of stuff for them.
That's one thing I like about it. Every time, because obviously we've got a few projects in the pipeline now, kind of hopefully pushing through and whatnot, and I like how it's all broken down. Obviously it should be, but kind of you can see it's all transparent. So I mean, and obviously we've done a separate video on like one of the biggest issues on people approaching refurbs anyway. But kind of, I'm not sure how to phrase it, but what's one of like, what's your second biggest problem? Because obviously, like I guess price is one thing. When you approach one thing, but is there a way of people approaching it who don't know what they're doing, those sort of things? Like, what would you say is a continuation of that kind of question?
So yeah, budget is the main one. Especially it differs. Private clients, they want a certain spec and that doesn't how they want. So usually budget's a bit better. This sort of thing is business. At the end of the day, we need to make money. The client needs to make money, and the deal is work. Otherwise, nobody's getting the work. No one's getting the business. My phone does not stop.
We're about to start.
Just constantly go. Oh, Sibrin.
Oh, Steve. Is that what you called his name?
I don't know.
That's my business partner. Small world.
So he's checking in probably about the other property.
He's probably calling my phone now, is that?
Yeah, probably will be. Yeah, so budget is sort of like the first gripe. The second one is, I wouldn't say try and cut corners, but trying to be cost effective on certain things. So I mentioned on the full video walkthrough, not budgeting within the actual cost of a refurb. Obviously, you always have a contingency, at least 10% on jobs, because stuff like this, you don't know. You could take walls off, like upstairs, and the walls are that thin and no structures done whatsoever. So we always budget in the contingencies for things that we physically cannot see. So we always put that within our quotes, make it very transparent that this is the quote, covers absolutely everything that's included in that price. Always factor in that contingency for things that are just completely unforeseen. It's not things that we've looked around and gone, that doesn't need it, does not. It's we physically can't see behind a wall. Take the wallpaper off and you can see the mortar on that on these. That will come off with it. So a job where it's potentially prep and skim could be fully back to brick, which is obviously going to be slightly more expensive for batten board or insulate boards, whatever's needed, depending what wall is, external, internal. So yeah, always factor that contingency. So my, not pet peeve, but one of the things which I don't like, because it's sort of a bad stigma with builders of, or they just want to get a bit of extra money. Like I said, our quotes are the quotes. It doesn't differ. Like the only time we will contact you is if there is an actual issue and it's completely out of our control. So one area that people tend to try and minimise costs on is boilers. If they see a boiler in a property, if it works, great. But 9 times out of 10, a property that's been vacant for 10 months plus or whatever, then the heating needs to be on, especially over the cold weather. We've done a few viewings where we've turned the properties and it's completely flooded. Because was it yourself?
I remember the bungalow now.
Two properties on the same street completely flooded, and that's because you're either not leaving the boilers running over the winter, just turn it on low, just so there's heat coming through.
I had a flashback then. Okay, now. That's
so
nice.
Boilers need to be on. You leaving them off for a long amount of time, they will seize, the parts will fail on them, you get leaks, especially if it's cold, it'll freeze, expand joints, break, then you turn it on, floods. For a bit of context, we had a bungalow that we went to that was vacant for a year or probably longer, and over the winter it just froze up, and then I turned up one week, we were going to complete on the purchase on it, turned up 7 days later, I walked in, and my business partner said that like the roof had caved in, like the ceiling had fallen in, it was flooded everywhere within 7 days. The entire ground floor was completely flooded. Bathroom ceiling fallen through, so fortunately we turned stop clock off. Stop that. But then probably 10 houses down the road because we were viewing the other bungalow.
Yeah.
Exact same. So I don't know if there's something in the area, pressure or something,
Too many bungalows.
Yeah. So yeah, two properties on the exact same street, both same issue, burst pipes and just completely flooded the place. So
Experience, man. Shows.
yeah, it's so yeah, always keep the boilers running, whether there's someone living there or not.
Yeah.
And that's one thing for viewings as well. Check them, see if it turns on, just flick it on, see if it, when you go into the property, turn it on, see if it works. You'll know within a couple of minutes whether or not a boiler works and fires up.
Yeah. Well, you have hot water, won't you?
Exactly, hot water and the heating on, you can see that it's kicked in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably one of the things that some people are like, right, let's budget into a contingency. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
There's a flip side to that. Sometimes it'll work, you've saved money, perfect. The other side of that is, right, you've budgeted for that boiler, but then it's the time then, so you've got to get a plumber in.
True. Yeah.
Fortunately, our plumbers are on the ball, so within a couple of days they will come out, fit a new boiler for us. But it's just that couple of extra days where you're waiting for a painter to come in, and the house needs to be nice and warm, and plaster and everything completely dried out, so you want to make sure that's all done beforehand. If the boiler doesn't fire up and you've got someone booked in ready to start, all has a knock-on effect. So yeah, that's probably the second little thing for it. And actually, my biggest pet peeve is...
Here we go, got out of it.
No, that's just remember firing up the boiler, utilities. So my biggest piece of advice, we've just, another property that we're going to have a look at, we were due to have finished that over a month ago. Heating issues in the property, the woman, bless her, was on the phone nearly every other day to utility companies trying to get it sorted. In the end, we had 3 gas meters changed on it and 2 electric meters changed. And utility companies, it's not like, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow, it's 7 days plus whatever, we'll get someone out. It didn't work, we'll be there another 7. So stuff like that, we're completely out of control of. We can't change meters, we can't change gas meters. And I'll always tell the client, day one, we get the keys, go in, send them the meter readings, get on them straight away. We need electric, we'll obviously disconnect all the electric, so rewire, put temporary supply in. But we need electric to do our job. Need heated when it's needed, get it fired up, obviously to do certs and that. So that's one thing that will slow projects down massively. Because if you don't nip it in the bud straight away, which again, this one, not 100% that we're the best ever. It's just one of those things, slight overlook. You look at it and think, it's got a new meter fitted. We've just done a full rewire, that's got a new meter. Perfect. We went to fire everything up, nothing. Electric wasn't working, wasn't connecting with the boiler. So the meter wasn't connecting with the gas meter to say that, there's gas at the property, fire up. So yeah, three gas meters. In the end, the woman, bless her, spoke to the guy fitting it directly. The company were like, we'll be back in 7 to 10 days to refit a new one. And this bloke was like, look, I come in on Saturday, I completely feel sorry for you, and he got it working, thank God. But it's still, I think it's about a month and a half that we were waiting, trying to get gas and stuff sorted. So day one, make sure that they work. Because that can massively hold up a project. So if you can't drive a project, especially the weather that we've had since in October, it pretty much has to stop raining. So this is the first week that it's actually been nice. So
I think that's such a good point.
Always check gas, electric, make sure that they're working correctly. Contact utility companies. Usually there's debt on the meters if it's previously had a tenant and that in it. So just get that sorted straight away. That's probably my biggest piece of advice.
And that's why you work with experienced people, honestly, because they can be proactive with this stuff, find out at the start.
And that's pretty much my job. Like I said, Paul, my business partner, runs the sites, manages the guys. Then sometimes it falls on me, and I'm not the best person in the world. I might forget now and again, especially on this property. But that's where I'll come in and be like, look at the finer details, make sure that it's all done correctly, keep in touch with the clients and make sure it's all pretty much spot on.
Top man, cheers Zac.
Sorted.